good evening, everybody. We've got Christina Markowski here and the lovely Charmaine Adams coming to you live and loud Thursday night. We're here to talk about how to get started with investing in property. If you're a beginner, look, don't switch off if you're a seasoned investor, because there's probably some tips and tricks that we're going to cover tonight that you'll still find very useful, because the market's constantly evolving, things are always changing, and you need to always stay up to date with the latest and the greatest when it comes to strategies.
Absolutely. It's being fluid with the market.
Definitely. And ready to pivot whenever certain things happen. You know, we've got high interest rates at the moment, so it's looking like there's a few challenges on the horizon, but we've always got to stay sharp and make sure we know the best way forward and how to navigate those things as they happen. So getting that smart strategy and being able to implement that, that's what it's all about. So we're talking about the 4 tips you need as an investor in today's market. So number 1, deposit.
Equity. Oh, deposit. Yeah, we'll start with deposit first. I was going to say
right, Charmaine,
deposit is the best way to start.
We're going to be investing in property. Yes. We're going to go simple and then we're going to do more of a deep dive a bit later on. But we're going to go high level to begin with. So yes, deposit. You need a deposit if you're going to invest in property. So like Charmaine said, you can use equity. Equity, where do we find equity? Probably in a house you've already got. The important thing here you've got to realize, is it usable equity? Because the bank will always keep that 20%. So you've got to work it out. You're not just going to go, oh, well, I've got a property worth, you know, maybe it's 600,000. You've got a certain amount owing to the bank. So if you've got the 200,000 owing to the bank, so then you've got that 400,000, you've got to remove that 20%, take that out of the equation. So you really want to focus on what's your usable equity portion. And speaking to a good mortgage manager to be able to finance that and find out how you can get your deposit organised is a good way to start.
Absolutely. And deposit too. If you don't have the equity, do you have savings to have as a deposit for your property? At the moment, just to get into the market, we're needing at least around $90,000 as a savings deposit. So, you know, it's a really good opportunity to get clear on the numbers so that you know what you're working towards.
Definitely, yep. So having those savings available, but also minimum equity required is around that $100,000 mark as well, just as a bit of a baseline figure so people know what they're aiming for with that usable equity portion too. So very similar. Cash is a little bit more powerful, so about that $90,000 mark. How else can we get into the market? What are some other ways we can get started?
Well, we've discovered deposit. We've discovered having usable equity. Self-managed super funds is another way we can get into the market.
SMSF, absolutely, super. Good option to start. Obviously, speak to a financial advisor to make sure you can do that if it's an option for you, because everyone's got individual circumstances and needs. But just as a bit of a ballpark figure, and what some of our members are doing is needing around that sort of $160,000 mark in their super, and then they can turn that into an SMSF and then use that to get started and get into an investment property.
Yeah, it's exciting times because, you know, some individuals can do both by, you know, individually, and some only in a super fund. Some can do both, but that leverages more properties under your belt if you can look at different options and ways you can get into the market.
Yeah, definitely. We've had a good comment here from David. Joint venture, JV. That's a creative way to get started. And what a lot of people do is some person, like one of the people that are doing the JV, it's usually 2 or more, one of the parties might have equity, so home with usable equity, large amount there, and the other person might have the income, but not necessarily the deposit. So you combine the 2. So you need both the income and the equity in order to get into the market, to get a loan from the bank, to get an investment property.
Absolutely. And same as self-managed super funds, you can do JVs in a self-managed super fund. I'm in the process of doing one with myself and my partner and one of my best friends as well, because we've all got small amounts of superannuation, but we're combining it all together so that we can get into the market and get that self-managed super fund money working that bit smarter and harder for us.
Yeah, and last time I checked, Charmaine, I heard that you can combine up to 6 super funds.
I think it was 5 by memory, 5 or 6, but around that 5-6 mark to get into a JV for a self-managed super fund. So, and the great thing with the self-managed super fund is whatever portion you put in within the super fund, that's the percentage you own within the investment property. So it keeps it nice and clear. One
Very
thing you
simple.
want to, very, very simple, correct.
Yeah, that's a fascinating thing to mention as well, because a lot of people might go, oh, but how do we know who owns the property or what's going to happen with that property? Well, as you just explained, whatever percentage you're putting in, that's going to correlate directly to the percentage of the property.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, nice, fantastic. So going high level, we spoke about obviously deposit, savings, equity, superannuation, even the fact that you can combine quite a few super funds to be able to get started, which is quite handy. Next on the list, what do we need next? If we've got the deposit sorted.
Mindset, the belief. You've
Yes.
got to believe in yourself. I say this to my members all the time. Don't see yourself as I'm becoming an investor. See yourself, I am the investor, because that changes the way you think, changes the questions that you ask when you already assert yourself as the investor.
Absolutely. You need the mindset, you need the belief. You need to see it as your reality, essentially, and understand that you can do this, and you've just got to take those next logical steps to enter the market. I've had some fascinating conversations here with people recently, and it's interesting because people that are in their early 40s have been going to me, oh, Christina, I just feel I can't get an investment property. I'm like, what are you saying? You've got plenty of time. You've got right up until you're 57 to be able to keep going. I mean, that's when the bank will say, no, sorry, you're too old. But they've got plenty of time. Like, these are 41-year-olds, 42-year-olds that think they're too old. And I'm like, that's crazy. I see so much room to move and to be able to grow what you're doing and grow your wealth in your current age. Not too old at all.
Not at all.
That's, I guess, a limiting belief that they have. And I've seen a few people think that way, and it's just really fascinating. And then on the other side of the coin, we've got some members that are, probably more to the mid 50s, and they're going, well, 57's the cutoff. I might be 54, 55, but I've still got a few years left. Why not get another couple of investment properties under my belt before I head into my retirement?
Yeah, no, mindset is definitely important, and not just mindset, but also you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that's really important to kind of land, because when you're setting up an investment portfolio, surrounding yourself with like-minded investors or getting yourself a group of trusted experts around you, it's going to help you to achieve your goals in a shorter period of time, and it also helps you to keep your mindset in check so that you're constantly focused on the goals at hand and have that support network and community around you that helps you to continue to achieve those goals.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some great comments coming through in the chat here. So Mark said, people around the traps of not having education or knowledge and already selling themselves short. Yeah, totally. And it's almost like they've given up that mentality. I get that vibe, like, oh, well, I'm too old, so why bother try? When I'm explaining, like, no, you're not too old, so you can try. But they've already given up before they've even tried. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy.
And look,
Jacob Bridge was 58.
We've got Ginny McBride, one of our members here. She started at 58. Fantastic. I love that.
Well done. Well done, Jeannie. Fantastic. Yeah. So definitely mindset is a key component. Believing you can, having that can-do attitude, seeing opportunities, seeing possibilities instead of seeing reasons why you can't do something. And that all comes down to mindset at the end of the day.
Yeah, and having a clear plan, having a clear goal. I mean, part of mindset is being really clear of what your goals are and really striving and working towards it. And I love a saying that George and Christina say a lot, not how, but who. So if you don't know the how, do you know the who? And knowing the who can actually help you uncover the how. And that was a very important mindset lesson that I learned, because I'd get stuck on the how. How am I going to get started in property? How am I going to achieve this? How am I going to do this? And when you're constantly looking at the how, you can go around the hamster wheel. But when you start thinking who can I speak to that's going to assist me to understand where I'm at and where I need to be and how I'm going to get there and achieve it, can really be a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. If you're in a relationship with the same goals and mindset is massive. Choosing your partner for life, if you go down that path, will help you to motivate both of you and to strive to sacrifice and achieve the ultimate goal. Thank you, Mark.
Love that.
Definitely. Having people that are on the same page as you is very important. That's part of why we've created this amazing community, positive mindset, positive people, kicking goals, getting investment properties, really leveling up in their lives. That's what it's all about. Okay, number 3. Well, if you've got the mindset, if you've got the deposit, you need the income.
That's right.
You need a job. You need a job or a business if you're a business owner. You need some sort of income coming in for the banks to be able to say, yes, we will give you a loan to buy properties, unless you've got a lot of cash in the bank and you can buy a property outright. If you want to leverage, if you want to go and get your loans approved by the bank, you definitely need an income. So if we're talking sort of holistic, basic figures here, if you're an individual, you need to be on around that $90,000 annual income or thereabouts.
Absolutely. And just tying back into belief and mindset, we had a member that was a little bit on the lower end of the income. And because she had the belief and she had the mindset, she got really creative. She rented out or did up one of her, I think like a basement or something downstairs, did it up and was doing Airbnb and renting it out, wrapped her car. So she was getting income for advertising on her car. Like, this woman had such belief and such mindset that she was willing to do whatever it took to actually increase that income so that she could get into property.
Yeah, that's a great point you mentioned there, Charmaine. We had a very motivated member that needed to increase their income and just thought outside of the box, got creative and made it happen, which is amazing. So Amaya, I believe at 52 we'll be able to achieve my goals. My first investment property is going to happen very soon.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that belief. You're so firm in what you're sharing, and that the more you write it, the more you say it, the more you believe it, and then it happens. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Any more on income, or we've pretty much covered most of what it comes to when it comes to income, belief, and the last one is property.
Yes. Property.
If you want to get started with investing in property, you need property. Who would have thought?
I love it.
It always brings me back to this session I had with a new member, and they were talking to me and they're going, oh, Christina, I really want to get 5 properties, but how do I get 5 properties? And I'm like, you just get 5 properties. You've got to just do it.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's more in depth than that, but big picture.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to get started. You've got to get into the market. Got to follow the 12-step process that we have and just implement it and make it happen.
Yeah, that's the most important part, is being able to take action and implement and just knowing that we've done the research, we've done the due diligence, and we're here to help you to understand and to be able to make the best decision for yourselves moving forward. And if the due diligence and the 32-point checklist, is the okay, and the cash flow calculator, the numbers work, that in itself is enough to be able to proceed.
Absolutely. And I guess an important question you've got to ask yourself is, how good is your strategy when it comes to finding a property?
Yeah.
Get clear on how you would truthfully answer that question. Do you have an unfair advantage when it comes to investing in property and finding properties before they hit the retail market? Is that a yes or a no? And then bonus step, I guess, with getting started in today's market is getting the right loan.
Yes, the structure, the lender, that's a very important piece of the puzzle.
It all comes down to ultimately those relationships you've got with the lenders, with the people doing the loans, getting a good strategist and someone who is a mortgage manager and got exclusive access to certain lenders, relationships and products that the banks might not otherwise give you direct access to. That's going to give you an unfair advantage. So connecting with the right mortgage manager. We've got a little special announcement here that you heard it here first, folks. We've got a new mortgage manager joining the team at Golden Key. So stay tuned. You will get to meet them next week on our session.
And just to add to that with your mortgage manager, usually mortgage managers are only looking at one property at a time, and that can really hurt you in the future when it comes to your structure, because if they're only looking at one property at a time, you may not have the right structure to be able to do your big picture, which is maybe 5 properties in 5 years or 6 properties. So working with the right mortgage manager that knows what your current goal is, which is the one property now, but knows how many properties you're looking to achieve, because it's really important that you get that structuring set up from the very first property. So every property, that structure should actually help push you forward to the next property and not hurt you later down the track because your structuring is not correct and therefore making it more difficult to obtain more properties.
Absolutely. You can't have someone that's just playing checkers and thinking one move ahead. You need someone that's thinking about what you're doing as 4D chess and really thinking, 3, 4, 5, even 10 steps ahead when it comes to your specific strategy. So very important point there. We are going to turn off our Facebook stream now. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you here next week. And we're going to head into our private group now and do more of a deep dive.
This is exciting. Yes. Looking forward to it.
Top 4 ways to get started when it comes to property investing in today's market.